What do you think makes a man truly rich? Is it the car he drives? The house he lives in? Or the size of his bank account? Let me tell you a secret. I once knew a man who had everything. A man who turned poverty into wealth, struggle into success, and yet, he lost it all. Not because of bad luck. Not because of enemies. But because of his own greed. This is not just his story, this is a mirror for every single one of us sitting here today. His name was Raghav. Born in a small town, he worked day and night, built a small textile business, earned respect, and provided for his family. He wasn't a millionaire, but he was happy. He had peace. He had love. He had dignity. But one night, everything changed. At a wedding, he met his old friend. A man dressed in Armani, driving a Mercedes, flashing his diamond watch. And that friend said one sentence that burned inside Raghav's heart like fire. Bro, you're still running that tiny shop. I make in a week what you make in a year. Tell me, what would you feel if someone said this to you? Jealousy? Anger? Motivation? For Raghav, it became an obsession. That night, lying on his bed, Raghav stared at the ceiling. His wife Mira whispered, "Why are you awake?" He replied, "Mira, why can't we have what they have? Why should our children settle for less?" She said gently, "Because we already have enough. Peace is better than greed." But he didn't listen. Within months, Raghav invested his savings into risky businesses. And the unbelievable happened, his money doubled. New house. New car. New status. The same neighbors who once ignored him now touched his feet. The same relatives who never called now begged for his advice. Raghav felt unstoppable. He believed he had finally cracked the code of success. But here's the suspense. What do you think happens when a man believes he cannot fail? He takes the biggest risk of his life. One morning, his friend introduced him to a golden opportunity. An investment that would triple his wealth in months. Mira begged, "Raghav, please. Don't risk everything. We already have more than we need." But greed whispered louder, "Just one more deal. Just one more win." He put everything in. His savings. His loans. Even his children's future. And then, the news broke. Scam. Fraud. Collapse. Overnight, everything vanished. Cars gone. House gone. Friends gone. The man who once threw grand parties, now couldn't pay school fees for his kids. The man who was once called a genius businessman, was now called a fool. One evening, his little son tugged his shirt and asked, "Papa, why don't we drive to school anymore? Why are we walking?" And in that single moment, Raghav realized the true cost of greed. Years later, when people asked him, "Raghav, what's the biggest mistake of your life?" he smiled sadly and said, "I thought money would make me rich. But in chasing more, I became the poorest man alive." Because the richest man is not the one who has the most, it's the one who needs the least. So I ask you today, how many of you are chasing more? A bigger car? A bigger house? More status? But stop for a second and think. Are you chasing success? Or are you being chased by greed? Because listen carefully, greed doesn't knock on your door screaming. It whispers. Softly. It tells you, just a little more, and you'll be happy. But the truth? You'll never be happy if you don't learn to say, enough. So remember this. A man who has peace in his heart is richer than a man who owns the whole world. And if you don't control your desires, one day, your desires will control you.